It's that time of year again. Time to winterize your boat. Two most important things you need. Biodegradable antifreeze. You can run this in the water. It doesn't hurt your fish. I go with the -75. They sell up to -200 I've seen. The -75 at our local lumber store, Menards, is $5 a gallon. I get 4. Second most important thing, lower end fluid change. If you have moisture that gets in any of the seals in lower end, it could burst your lower end, cost you thousands of dollars. If you burst your engine, it could cost minimum of $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $12,000. It all depends. I'm not going to fog my engine this year. People say it can be overboard. It can be. Farmers leave their tractors in the field for years. Never an issue. If you want, you can take your spark plugs out after it's all done. Spray some of this in your spark plug holes, in your cylinders, or I have other videos where I drowned out the carb. I don't really like doing that way because the fogging oil gets on the spark plugs and I have to change them in the spring. First thing I do, I run a stable in my fuel. So I have a 20-gallon tank. This blue stuff, I use 1 ounce per 10 gallons. If you get the red stuff, it's like 1 ounce per 2.5 gallons or 5 gallons. So this stuff is more concentrated. I use this. I'll show you a clip of that where I'm running in the water now. This is the end of the 2022 season. Tank is full. Got 186.2 hours. It'll be 83 by the time I'm done. Temp gauge perfect, pressure perfect. Depth finder works. Just gonna run it back to launch. The 360 Marine stable is in it. So now I'm gonna take you inside the boat. I already ran the boat out of the water. This is a great situation because my water lines are down. I will not be able to use water in this video. I recommend running the stable in your engine for about 5-10 minutes. Get the muffs on your vent holes here so you can suck water in, run it, stable it, go in it and pop the blue plugs out, put our coolant in, drain it again if you want. You don't have to. Then we're gonna do lower end fluid change. Okay, there's the engine. What I'm going to do is remove the 5 blue plugs. I have a separate video. I'm going to leave a link at the end of this video for that video. Great lighting, easy to find the plugs. There's one down here, 2 on each side, one in the block, one in the manifold. I'm going to quick do that and get right back to you. Now that I removed my 5 blue plugs, now these can get kind of brittle. So maybe just replace them if your boat's getting old. And what you want to do sometimes, again, I have a video at the end. I'm going to show you where they are. Is you have to poke a little, take a little screwdriver maybe and poke a hole in there if it's not draining. Rust can build up in there and it can prevent the block from draining. Now that the block is drained, I'm going to put the blue plugs back. The reason why I pull the blue plugs before I put the coolant in is it says right on there, do not dilute. If you dilute it, it's going to water it down and make it not as good. So you want a very strong solution of antifreeze in there. So now that I have the block drained, I'm going to pull this hose off right here. This one goes to the lower end right here. That one will go into your impeller unit. I'm going to fill up the whole block with coolant. You want to take the hose clamp off, the big hose, unscrew it all the way, take it all the way off so you can fill up that line with coolant all the way until it flows out the thermostat area, the metal area. I will show you. Okay, now that it's coming out of the thermostat area here, I know that the block is full, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a rag in here, and I'm going to keep filling it up, so that way it goes all the way. I know it's in the manifolds too, but I'm going to do it just to make sure that the water can run down to lower end also. So I'll kind of show you that. Just going to stick a rag in here. I'm going to pump one more in there. It says shake well. Not wanting to drain as fast because it's full. Oh, it's starting to pump out. That's all right. So now, throw that wet rag out of here. Hook this back up. Tighten her down. So now that I have my block filled with coolant, you can drain it, which I might actually drain it. Pull the blue plugs again and let it drain. This coolant stuff is an anti-burst coolant. So it does get slushy, it just won't burst. Then you want to check your oil, make sure your oil doesn't have any water in it. And this is your, if you have one, a lower end reservoir tank. Doesn't mean anything to me. I'm going to drain the lower end, but I'm not going to drain this. So I went through about 2 3/4 gallons of anti-coolant, anti-freeze coolant in my 4.3. A lot of people argue with me on YouTube about you should leave the coolant in because it has an anti-rust in there. I'm going to leave it in. I left it about 3/4 full. I dumped some out. So now let's go to the lower end and change that. I put that rag in there to kind of stop it from draining so fast. You can see here how the coolant made its way through the lower end into the impeller housing. I feel very good about that. That's what you want. So now what you want to do is get your leg or lower end all the way down. What I do to help myself with that is I put my front area here on a jack, and I'm going to put my wheel up, and then I'm going to drop that all the way down. Now that I have the front of my trailer all the way down, it'll pick up my lower end, so I can drop that all the way. And you want it is all the way down when you're running it or when you're changing the fluid. That way there's no air bubbles. So now that I have my lower end all the way down, have my drain bucket, have my oils, have my pump you can get for $12. Your lower end screw is right there, and your upper end screw is here. So you want to undo the lower end first and then do the upper one. That way it won't drain out in your hand. And when you're filling it back up, you're going to fill from the bottom, and when you see oil coming out from the top vent screw here, then you put the top screw in, and then after you put the bottom one in. Make sure each screw has the blue rubber grommet. Usually they're blue nowadays. So on both my washers, the blue grommet got stuck in there. As you can see, I'm going to leave it in there and just put it back on there like that. Now, I only used this boat about 12 hours this year. You're supposed to change your lower end fluid every 100 hours, at least every fall, like I'm doing it right now. So I'm going to let that all drain out. It might take a little bit, but not too much of the reservoir drains out. And the lower screw has a magnet on it. Make sure you clean the magnet off. It's to collect metal. Again, here's the blue washer. You make sure both of your screws have that blue washer. That's what's going to seal it. I'm going to put my pump. You're going to need about 1 and less than a half of these. So it's always nice to have extra blue washers. I put them in my kit just in case. Now it's coming out. You just screw that in there like that. You start pumping. Again, you're going to wait till the top reservoir is dripping. You're going to want to be ready with the top one and screw it in as soon as it starts coming out. It's starting to come out. So I'm going to put this back in. Tighten that up. There we go. I'm going to give it another pump. And be ready to catch this oil. Well, it's as easy as that. Run the boat, run stable, run the coolant in the motor, change the lower end fluid, fog the engine if you like to. Then what I like to do is build a canopy for the top of the boat so snow doesn't collapse the tarp. Take life jackets and everything out of the boat. Tarp it good, park the boat, put the lower end down all the way, pull the battery, then you tarp the boat. That's it. That's how I winterize my 2001 Chaparral. If you like the video, please hit like or subscribe. I have links to other videos at the end.